All right, man. This is the moment that we've been waiting for. Season 4, y'all. Season 4 of Unfiltered King of the Queen podcast, man. We've been doing big things. God has been good to us. And man, look, we embarking upon season 4. Frankie, man, how does it feel from
Man,
season 1, man? No, not knowing what we were gonna do. Had we just been to get in front of these
bro.
things and just talk to the people, man. And here we are, man. We got 3 seasons up under our belt, man.
Hey, man,
And here, man. How
feel
you feeling,
stupendous,
man?
man.
You going on 4 years old in the podcast world.
Man, yo, feel stupendous. Like I said, man. Hopefully, keep moving up to bigger and better things too, man. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
love. And thank you for everybody that's been watching and kicking it and vibing with us, man.
And man, and I think that's something I want to echo, man. Like in this world of podcasting, it's such a huge entity within itself. And here we come trying to own our little corner, man. I personally want to thank each and everybody who went on any social media platform and gave us an opportunity, man, to lend their ears, every comment, every inbox. Hell, even if you didn't like what we was doing, believe it or not, I was talking to Boston offline. That's good feedback for us, man. We want to get better, right? Because we're here for the people. So when I say thank you, man, we really appreciate it. And hopefully we kind of incorporated some of those things on season 4 and you can see an improvement with us. So with that being said, man, look, I think we have a great topic tonight. Too late. Why do we only check in when things are falling apart? Usually things don't happen just A to Z. Sometimes things can be very imminent and finite, but there's usually a process, man. And in this day and age where we got family, friends, fraternity, so where we got all these circles, we're going to try to identify, man, why do sometimes we wait too late? And if there's anything that we can do to identify, what type of relationship do we have so we can be proactive, man, and be there for each other. We use that term friend, brother, sister, associate, but we're going to try to dig down off in there and see if we can have some accountability in it. This is Unfiltered King podcast, the podcast where men and women have conversation together, not at each other. You can follow us on all social media platforms. That's including Spotify, YouTube. We're now up and running on Instagram and then, of course, on our host page on Facebook. You may see that we're missing one of our counterparts, the better looking one out of all of us, Diana, but she had a prior commitment that she just couldn't get out of, and so she sends her regards for this season premiere. And so, man, we're gonna allow Frankie to kind of do a check-in for us. You guys, we have a phenomenal guest when I tell you. And I can't wait to introduce him. I can't wait even to hear what he's bringing to the table. So after we go around and see how we're doing, man, I'll introduce this guy, man. We're just gonna jump in the conversation. As always, man, throw your comments out there, man. We want you to be a part of the conversation. We don't want to just talk at you guys. So, Frank, I'll go ahead and
Yes,
let you kind of
yes.
check on the group, and then we'll go from there.
Man, y'all know what time it is, man. We slacked on it a little bit in the past, but we back on it again, and we're gonna keep this thing rocking, man. This is the vent session. We always do a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being 10 being it's a good day, like Q, baby. Uh let's kick it off. Boston, man. How your day been going, man? From scale to 1 to 10, man. What's good?
Man, you see the smile. It's a 10, man. I messed around and had a
Oh,
triple
word.
double myself. You know what I'm saying?
What? Hey, didn't have to pull the AK.
Man,
Man, I
hey,
wish I
my
had the music cue that song, bro. That would have been hot.
yeah,
That's
man.
what's
Life
up.
life is good. Life is good, brothers.
Already,
That's
already. Jay, what you got, baby?
Man, look, man. In truth and transparent, I'm probably a 7, man. Um, as I get older and my son gets older, I understand as much as I want my son to grow, I gotta grow too, and that can be very uncomfortable as a father. The conversations change, the nuances of the conversations change, and so, um, he had a setback in his school, nothing major, to where he just have to, come home, kind of regroup. Grades are good and things of that sort. And to hear the disappointment in your child's voice, you want to go quickly solve it, but you understand that's a learning process, right? it wasn't anything major. So I've been battling that, but I'd be lying if I'm sitting up here and saying that, God is grace and everything, and him seeing it for the first time, that sometimes you can do the right thing, but people can let you down. And have an understanding, because you're taught, we teach our kids, do the right thing, get your grade. Well, sometimes people can let you down. So that's been whirring and turning on me, man. And and so been trying to grow in that area. So I would say I'm a 7, man.
Right on, right on, right on. Last but not least, let me say my piece. Man, mine fluctuated because I was like, man, at a 9, then I had to take these kids to go get schedules and IDs, and man, it plummeted to a 5. Man, the unorganized stuff I seen today, I'm like, man, in the heat, all it, and I felt like I was hoodwinked by Nick G. That's my wife there. Shout out to Nick G. But she hoodwinked me. She took the 4 little kids and they was in and out while I had the 2 big kids, and I'm there trying to figure out what's going on and everything unorganized in high school, man. Laptop overheat. Then I get to the middle school. They tell us to go to the cafeteria. Then like, nah, man, this 8th grade, so she got to go to the office. So now we in the office. Now it's lines to get IDs and everybody going every which way. I was like, man, look, you gonna get that ID your first day of school. Then she got to go talk to the dance teacher. Then I'm trying to call my other oldest, trying to call London. She got her phone on Do Not Disturb. So when I finally get a hold to her, I'm like, man, we all been calling. Well, it's on Do Not Disturb. I'm like, why is it on that? Because I didn't want to be disturbed. I'm like, man, you rode with me. How you gonna get home? Long story short, she ended up finding a ride. Had to get on her when I was here. I'm like, man, look, if I'm dropping you off, it can't be on Do Not Disturb. I need to know where you at, this, that, and the other. But I made it here. I thought I wasn't gonna make it here on time, but I did. So now I'm back at an 8 because we on the show and we getting it cracking and we getting ready for season 4. That's been the vent session. Always get stuff off your chest, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, like Clint Eastwood, baby. All things in life, man, you gotta stop. You gotta inhale, exhale, and vent, baby. Back to you, Jay.
Man, look, man, appreciate that, man. I want to continue to encourage you guys. Like, man, we get in this world where we should just start doing things with no meaning to it. How you doing? We just say fine, right? You good? I'm okay. We really don't have any intention. So I say this before I say it again. This is one of my favorite parts of the podcast, man, where we be genuine with each other and allow each other to kind of get it out, man. We're going to kind of talk about that tonight in our topic. Too late. Why do we only check in when it's falling apart? Right? We don't look like we've fallen apart, but you never know what's going on in the background. And so I'm glad we got the vent session back. Man, look, as I told you guys, we have a special guest. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't even feel like I have enough to introduce him. Like I'm for real, because look, it's not often when you have genuine people where when you need advice or you need help about something, like that call is going to come back, right? And I think we underappreciate that, right? And this guy, when I tell you, man, has been instrumental in us getting into the podcast world, learning from some of the things from the back end, front end, from sound, viewing, and things of this sort. And so what I want to do, man, humbly, is let him kind of take the stage, so to speak, and kind of tell the audience a little bit about himself, what he's got going on. But he has been a tremendous support, quite frankly, for UKQP. Throwing our journey, who was known for something else. I mean, he's been there with that journey, and definitely we've used a lot of his advice, and we've seen some of the fruition. And so, without further ado, down a bloopity blue blah. Oh, that's the queen of the crew. We know she's gonna get her words in. But look, without further ado, Big Ken, man, if you could just introduce yourself to the people, kind of tell them a little bit about yourself, what you got going on, and man, we'll get right into it.
See, I got the hands, you know what I'm saying? When the
I
preachers
see,
get in
bro. I
church,
see,
you know what I'm
man. Hey, you
saying? They
gotta
put their
bring you
hands
in,
like
bro.
this.
I like that. I'm gonna use. Look, do I got it? Do I got it?
Yeah, hey, yeah, you know, if you preachers sit there with their hands like this while they being
Pat,
introduced, you know what I'm saying? I
okay, I'm
appreciate
gonna
that.
wear it out. I'm gonna wear it out. I'll see the four. Yeah.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man. You know, it's all love, man. Helping you all get going on your journey, man. You know, that's the one thing about it is when I got started with the 5 session, you know, 5 years ago, I didn't have help. You know what I'm saying? So I learned by trial by fire. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a privilege to help you all get started on your journey because I want to see everybody be successful, man. That's just the type of guy I am. But you know, I love y'all, you know what I'm saying, from back at Paul Quinn College. So we already had that connection. So it was nothing to, you know, step in and try to help you guys, you know what I'm saying, with your platform. And I'll continue to do that for sure, for sure. But it's all love, man. I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Big Ken, 1/3 of the 5 Session podcast crew. We're building and growing, man. We're at episode 200. It's been a journey. I actually started with my own live show called You See It Live. I'm famous on social media for that, you know, hashtag You See It. The people who follow me and the people who know me know that I love that hashtag and been running with that hashtag since probably 2010, 2011. That's been on every post. So if you go to hashtag You See It on any social media platform, you're gonna find me somewhere in that mix. So yeah, we've been doing this, man, and we love it. And we do these things, these live shows, these podcasts, and on these platforms that create this content because we want to see everybody improve. We want to see everybody get better. And that's why we're here. We're not here to make money. If the money comes, it comes. But in the meantime, we're here to make sure that we help educate the people with what we know and help improve people's lives by the content that we create. So that's it. That's Big Ken in a nutshell, man.
Man, you
Right
gotta
on, right
make sure that you go out and support this man's vision. I mean, everything from mental
Yes,
wellness, and
yes.
I think everybody how passionate about that. There has been a time where I was one about finances, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we think we got that understood, but you know, being able to bring in this day and age, man, where social media can be about anything. I'm not gonna get on my soapbox, Frankie. But in this day and age where we're bringing quality stuff, like stuff that people really can use, right? Like
Yeah.
that one sticks out to me. Like I'm finding myself like I should have got a notepad type ish. And like he said, yeah, man, like it's a thankless passion, right? Sometimes, and that's not nobody else's problem per se, but to be able to take that time and put that type of quality information out there, and the only thing we ask, hey, just follow us, you know, subscribe and hit that like button, drop us a comment. These things are free, right? You'd be surprised how much that motivates and help in the long run. And so the 5 sessions, definitely go out there, follow it on YouTube, follow it on social media platforms. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. It's something for everybody too. And so we definitely glad that you're here, Big Ken. Man, but with that being said, like I said, let's get off into our topic for tonight. Our Queen Diane has done a great job in giving me an outline here, and it's so powerful. Don't be mad if I don't get to everything, but it is well written. Let me put it like that, and it's very thought provoking. And so let's just get into the topic. Too late. Why do we only check in when things are falling apart, right? And I want to start it off, you guys, and this is just, you know, we free speakers. I want you guys to think about this statement that Diana put into the script that she gave me, and I want you guys feedback on it. It says healing in our culture isn't just about recovery; it's about reclaiming. Healing in our culture is not just about recovery; it's about reclaiming. I thought that was so powerful, and we can unpack that all night right there. But I wanted
Yeah.
to give you guys an opportunity. What do you think about when you hear that topic? Healing in our culture isn't just about recovery, it's about reclaiming. And now, Big Ken, if we could start with you, man, to kick us off.
Well, when I hear that, the first thing I think about is kind of like a fighter, man. In life, we go through these rounds, and when we go through those rounds, sometimes you may get knocked down, but you got to get back up. And when you get back up, it's not only that you get back up, that's a recovery, right? But when you get back up, you got to get back on the balls of your feet. You got to get back on your game. You got to get ready to win the fight. So that's what I think about first and foremost, because all too often in life we get caught up in just the recovery, and we think that that's enough, but it doesn't stop there. Like, you got to go that extra mile in order to make sure that you get to that next level. And unfortunately, a lot of people only know how to recover because they're so deep in their trauma. They're so deep in the things that they've been buried in under throughout their life. They don't know how to do anything else but recover. But fortunately for us, we're having this conversation, so maybe they can hear something or hear a way that they can help get them past their recovery to actually reclaiming.
Boy, y'all better get that nugget out of there. It is not enough just to recover from your trauma. Sometimes, I'm gonna stop right there. But that's so rich. It's not enough just to recover from your trauma. A lot of times we're so quick to get back to normal. No, sometimes our trauma changes us. That's okay. I'm gonna stop right there. I told y'all what you were gonna put on the table was good. Frank, healing in your culture isn't just about recovery. It's about reclaiming. Any thoughts on that topic or that statement rather?
Yeah. First off, I see you, Sugar. Hey, that's my mama. Hey, appreciate you for watching. Got to give a shout out to my mama.
Time now, what? Did she comment? We got to put mamas on the.
Hey,
oh, she just watched. We got to get mama on the screen, like. Okay.
Yeah, hey, I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna see what's up. I'm gonna talk to him, see what's up. But now, man, like Big Ken said, bro. I feel like even with that, it's like a fighter. Once you take that L like a boxer, you still got another fight because you got to get your rep back. Especially if you fighting, if you lost a belt or something like that, you gotta get back in line. That's a fight in itself. You gotta go through more trials and tribulations. Then you gotta get yourself back to where you can get back up and get a W, man. And the thing about it is, with the recovery and reclamation, is that it's a journey within itself, and you don't know what the timeline is going to be. So you have to be prepared for that as well too. You see? So sometimes you might bounce back quick. Other time it might take years for you to get back at it, man. Some people, aren't mentally equipped and don't want to find or use the resources to get back mentally equipped until they got their self out of a rut, to figure out, hey, this ain't what it is. Let me bounce back. That's a fight within itself. And you gotta stay in good health mentally too, just to go through that.
Yeah, man. First of all, I would be remiss if officially came through. I see you, Big Frank, Sugar Jones. That is our co-host mother, and so we love when we get comments from our followers. But we definitely go shout out mamas.
I appreciate you, mama.
So I definitely wanted to take time to sit. I wanted to shout that out in real time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you saw me on there. It was 5 hours later. I don't want no smoke for you. So, but no, I love the foundation that you guys sit in using the analogy of a fighter. Because I think sometimes we have been conditioned, life's supposed to be good and all this, that we forget that there are some, more than probably what they let on, that it's a fight every day, right? No, it's a fight every day. And I know resources can sometimes mask some of this stuff, but I love what Frankie said. How many people are walking around that are good physically, but are still messed up emotionally, right? And so I love the way you said a fighter, because the first thing I thought come to mind was Mike Tyson. Yeah. We all know Mike Tyson was bad, but Mike Tyson said what gave him that prowess in fighting was the first time he got hit. It was some I forget, it was this dude that was in his boarding school or whatnot that taught him how to fight. And he said, I didn't like getting hit like that. Like that clicked something in his head to where I don't want to get hit. So he said, I start to fight scared. I knew I had to demolish you before you do any damage to me. And I think a lot of time when it comes to our trauma, we deal with more big Ken of trying to put it off. Because I don't want you to see it, than actually resolving it physically and mentally. That makes sense? So we really ain't dealt with it. We've covered it up, you know. And so, yeah, I thought that was a profound statement that in our culture, we're just about to recover. Like Ken said, hey, let me just, let me get back in there. But if you get back in there with the mentality that you can't win, you probably gonna get done in dirty, even dirtier, if that's a word, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about, man. We're going to be checking ourselves, to be honest. We don't got all the answers. Hopefully you guys will chime in, being just transparent if you've been through some of these things that we're going to kind of pour out right here. But we're going to challenge ourselves to look within ourselves and see what is the root cause. And people like we call our family and our friends, why do we only check in when it's actually falling apart? So I want to kind of open it up. First of all, have you been the person where you recognize, dang, I waited too late? Or I wish I would have, man, if I had another. No, someone that's in your circle that we kind of took for granted, right? Hey, I'll call you back. I'll see you later. I'll see you at homecoming. And then all of a sudden life happens, right? Kind of talk to me, Ken. I know we were kind of talking offline, but can you kind of open it up for the audience? Because I think the hardest part is when we know when it's been done to us, but I think we don't see it when we intentionally or unintentionally do it to other people, not show up or show up too late. And so can you talk to us about an example of a time where you had to realize like, oh shit, I probably waited too late?
Yeah, I mean, one example that comes to mind, man, and we joke about this all the time because a lot of women give guys, strife and grief about playing video games. But during the pandemic, man, we were locked in, and I started playing video games a little bit online, and I got with a group of guys, man. We call ourselves the OGs because we're older gamers, you know what I'm saying? And you connect with these guys and you talk to these guys and you play video games with these guys every day in, day out, and you develop a friendship, you develop a brotherhood. And we had one guy in particular, man, he would have issues with his girl in the background, his kids, but for us, we've seen conflict, we've seen people go through things, so we don't feed too much into it.
Right.
So one night, man, him and his girl, they were going back and forth a little bit, and we were playing the game, and we noticed that he was a little bit more quiet than usual, but nothing
Yeah.
really stuck out. But instead of us saying, "Hey, man, you good?" You know what I'm saying, or whatever, we just focus on the game. We ain't even focus on that. We just like, well, we're gonna let him do what he do. We're gonna mind our business, and we're gonna do what we do. And that was one of those opportunities, man, where I felt like something was pulling at me saying, "Hey man, ask him, is he okay?" But I didn't want to seem like I was getting in his business, man. But long story short, man, is I didn't ask him. We didn't ask him. We got off the game that night and went about our business. Monday comes up, we get on the game Monday night, nobody's heard from him. Tuesday night, nobody's heard from him. Wednesday night. So we started questioning because we were like, okay, this is too long for us to have gone without hearing from this guy. So we started asking questions. We started looking around to see we have any friends in common on social media or whatever. Do you know that we Googled his government name and we found an obituary 4 days later? He had committed
Oh my
suicide.
God.
He had committed suicide that Monday morning. And I still get a little emotional about that, man, because I felt like that we could have done something about that, man. We could have definitely done something about that if we could have just asked, man. I don't know how much it would have changed anything or how much it would
Yeah.
have, changed his outlook, but at least we could have asked, was he okay, bro?
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do more. It doesn't cost anything to ask somebody, are they okay?
Right. Let me bring in, and I'm from the South, so I say Mama Jones. I know, see her name, but just out of respect, that's how I was raised, right? But
Hey, she's muted, right? She's muted.
she put some on there called self-inflicted pain, and so I want to kind of peer in a little bit of, we definitely want to respect everybody's privacy, but I want you to talk a little bit more, because see, what I find a lot of times, Big Ken, people love hearing about your dirt, but they don't see theirs. And it's not a bad thing. It's just my imperfection or something I need to get good at. But I love what she said, self-inflicted pain. Because we confuse that, Big Ken. Oh, we feel sorry in some way and grief for that. But all of that ain't grief. It's guilt. So could you talk to me about what Mama Jones talking about, that self-inflicted pain, so we can identify what all is grief, right? But some of that's, it's some guilt in there.
Well, yeah, I think we that guilt kind of comes in for us taking too much responsibility at time, because there's certain things that we just can't change. Certain things about your life are, as people say, fate. They're going to happen regardless, and that's for you. And there's nothing nobody can do to change that course of life for you. So, the biggest thing is that I learned from this situation is to go ahead and just ask. You know what I'm saying? If they get upset or whatever, of me checking in on you, or me, making sure you good, then so be it. But, at least I can rest and know that, I made an attempt to check to make sure you good, and that I care because I asked. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay for men to ask other men, are you okay, bro? It's just that simple.
Frank, you got anything you want to jump in before I chime in? I want to make sure I get everybody. And you guys, trust me, we love your comments. I promise you, we're discussing the topic. Season premiere, season 4, first episode. Too late. Why do we only check in when it's falling apart, right? We heard the bad news that spread quicker than when it popped off, right? Hospitals and funeral homes. Oh, now it's time to. Why do we do that, right? So chime in. We would love for you to put your experience in there. We respect the privacy and things of that sort. But we got to get better at this, right? Big Ken, one thing I was thinking about when you were talking is like, and this is a whole nother podcast in itself, Frankie. Do we cultivate relationships correctly? In this day and age of social media and electronics, do we sometimes allow that to substitute for quality relationship building? Right? Big Ken, I can call you anytime I got your number, I can FaceTime you. Do I really use it though? Do I really talk to you, and learn these things, right? Because, you said something that was so powerful to me. Man, we got to Google your name. And that's fair, right? Like, this is not a finger pointing thing. I want the audience to, you got to keep context these days. I don't want nobody emailing us. But do we do a good job in relationship building? Because all that is M through Z, like I always say. A through L is the relationship building. If I don't know that, like Big Ken said, I can come in thinking, oh, that ain't needed, right? That phone call is needed. Or I could come in with the help. It's too late. It's not needed, right? So that's something else I think that we need to be mindful of and being transparent within ourselves is, do we do a good job in relationship building? We were just talking offline, and this is definitely, we're just going to talk quickly about us Black males. We don't do a good job of sharing what we're really dealing with. And Frankie, if you could quickly, could you share with the audience what we do on Monday nights? Where we try to break that stigma to where we're around each other, hanging with each other, and we don't even know, hey, that person going through. Or we just kind of, we hard or whatnot. So if you can kind of give the audience a kind of sneak peek into what we try to do on Monday nights to try to counter that, if you will.
Right on. Another quick shout out to all my people at the post office in Mesquite. preferably the north side, man. That's Tab. Shout out to Tab. That's my big sis when I was at the post office, man. Put me up on game on how to work at the post office. Shout out to Tab, man. Thank
Man,
you
I
for
didn't know
watching.
we were doing a contest. I would have had my mama and them. I would have had my 4 cousins. I have 2 uncles. I would have invited. You know, all right,
Hey,
Frank.
hey,
Okay, I see what you're
hey,
doing.
hey, we still rolling, baby. Tell me, come on, man,
Hey, hey,
family. Come
okay,
on
Frank. I
in.
see what you're doing.
Doors of the church are open. Nah, but what we do Monday, man, same thing like the event section, man. It's like a check-in, man. It's we got a good group of brothers, man, and we always willing to add more. We see where everybody's at. Uh, we check in, we make sure everybody's straight, try to figure out what everybody's going through, and we try to knock that stigma of guys not opening up emotionally, man. You know, if we going through something, we gonna let each other know. We gonna find solutions. You know, we gonna big up each other. We also gonna, help each other out. It's a constructive criticism. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, maybe you should do it this way. Maybe that ain't the right way. You know, we try to do it like that. But the main thing is, like Jay always said, we check in to see, hey, is everybody mental straight? You know.
And man, it's been a beautiful thing. Tony, shout out to Tony, man. Shout out to the
Tony.
devastating Lambda New Delta, that Paul Quinn
Yep.
College,
All right.
man. I'm gonna try to accent with her, but man, shout out, man, HBCU Pride. Appreciate the support. But yeah, man, we've tried to address that, man, because we had to realize, Big Ken, okay, are we developing relationships but expecting a thing from relationships? And it's such a beautiful thing. I think the youngest person is my son. And we go around and check in, and come to find he was like, man, I just want older guys to learn how to do life, right? And as his father, it's like you gotta understand, like I'm his father. He don't see it through different vantage points. How resourceful is that, right? To
Yeah.
be able to see that. And then when we find, like Frankie said, we even find each other like, man, I don't talk to you and I see you and I know you, but have I dealt with what you're dealing with, right? And we come to find out a lot of times, man, especially around us men and Big Ken, if you could chime into this, it's not just about resources all the time. Now, sometimes it is, but sometimes it's just being heard. It's something that we need to identify. Big Ken is dip. Oh, okay. Because I can hear what you're dealing with, Big Ken, but I don't have the capacity to understand the in-depthness until we build that relationship, right? Could you kind of speak to that? And again, right now, we just speaking to our black men audience right now, and then we're going to get back and open it up. But I think it's important for us as black men because we walk around here like we just stonewalled all the time, and we literally killing ourselves, going to the grave with stuff inside of us.
Yeah. When it comes to that, man, I like to use an analogy of when we traveling through life, we all have a backpack. We all have baggage, right? And a lot of times, that bag, it gets full, it gets heavy because we keep putting stuff in it throughout our journey. So, but if you think about it, and you got your bag on your back, both straps on, and you try to reach in that bag, what's your success rate of getting everything out of that bag? You can't. It's impossible. Your arms ain't long enough. So guess what? You got to have somebody behind you who got your back digging that bag to help you get that stuff out of there. That could be your friends. That could be a therapist. You need somebody to listen to you. So a lot of times when we talk to people, people have to understand when I say I need to talk to you, sometimes it's just that. I don't need you to give me advice. I don't need you to help me. I need you to just simply listen. And that listening, if I need your advice, I can ask for it. But if I need to just vent, sometimes it's just that. I don't want to hear what you got to say. I don't want to hear your advice. I want to just talk so I can talk it out. And a lot of times when we talk through things ourselves, we give ourselves the solution. We find a solution in our own speech, in our own talk a lot of times because we've been allowed to talk through it. So that's one way I like to look at things because with you all talking about checking on each other, that's a powerful thing, man, because not a lot of black men feel comfortable enough to have that quote unquote safe space in order to be able to really do that.
Right. And we so easily, Tony, she's alluding to it herself. Iron sharpens iron, with accountability, right? And I think that's so important. I know I'm a writer, and so sometimes we say stuff that's so cliche, but two pieces of iron laying by itself don't mean nothing. 4, 5, 6, 10, 30 pieces of iron together, it don't mean nothing. What are you talking about, James? I'm glad you asked. We can have a whole lot of homeboys around us, but if there's no interaction, to Tony's point, there's no accountability. We just around each other, right? And I think a lot of time we give the excuse. We talked about this online. Life get busy. Well, I got this. Well, just me and my friend, what I got going through. As I said again, take whatever one of those excuses that you use. Are they ever too busy when it's time to go to the hospital or to the funeral?
I want to point out something too. What Tony said, iron sharpens iron. A lot of people say that, but people have to understand too. Two butter knives can be made of steel too. Two butter knives can be made of iron too.
All right, I'm about to get you out here. We for lose power because
and if you rub it two butter knives together,
knives on our page now.
Nothing happens.
Hey, it might take a minute, but the mud's gonna sharpen up.
Oh man, yeah, but for real, that's one of those things, man, where we have the tools to navigate certain things, but we have to be careful with the way we use them. You know what I'm saying? Because the tools are the tools. The tools do no good until the man puts his hand to it and does the work himself. So
now I'm gonna blow it wide open.
Hey, if I get input too, off of what Big Ken said, man, with the job that I do, man, that is real talk, man, because sometimes just sitting there letting people pop their stuff off is kind of help enough, and it lets them get the sense of, hey, I can open up more and I could tell more too. And that also help the person that's actively listening try to help them with solutions and really get to the root problem. So that's the key too, Boston. Yeah.
Now y'all coming up my lane, and again, down to kind of incorporate that topic. Big Ken said something that's so important, and we laughed about it, but it's some serious to it. Two butter knives, right? Two butter knives ain't gonna do too much damage. So now it takes it a step further. Why are we so afraid to go get help? We're gonna use a few minutes to break this stigma. And Frank, I'm big on mental wellness, and we got to beat this thing and start normalizing some things. We are literally dying. Were we looking good, dressing good? I have a line in one of my poems talking about what's used to being a corpse with a good fragrance on it.
Yeah.
What good is being a dead corpse with a good fragrance on it? Like, no one is going to say, oh, okay. No, it's still a corpse. And a lot of times we are walking around like that mentally, and we now associate with people, and we intentionally trying to beat our form, but you don't have nothing to offer me. And now you upset because you don't realize that emotionally you are a corpse. And so what I want to put on the table, and then we'll talk about it in detail, man, why are we not proactive when it comes to counseling? Like we're barely getting to the point where we talk to homeboy, homegirl, which sometimes it can be good, sometimes that can be a butter knife, like Big Ken said, but I digress. But why are we so slow, especially in a day and age where some of us, not all, but I digress, we have access to this stuff now. A lot of this stuff is low cost to free when it comes to therapy, counseling, or getting someone who professionally can help us out. Why do y'all think that we are just, and I'm just speaking to the culture, right? We're not quick to get this help while trying to help somebody from falling apart themselves.
Yeah, I think that. No, go ahead, Frank.
My bad too. I want to take the lead on this real quick while it's fresh in my mind because I was dealing with this today at work. And this is a very interesting topic too, especially for our community. Dealing with what I deal with probation, man, you try to find a lot of free stuff or free resources to help with that aspect with mental health. And sometimes it's still not the best route because even with some of the stuff being free, it still might not help that particular person because they might actually need to spend the money that it really costs to get somebody that'll actually really take the time to help them. And the dilemma comes in where you're sitting there, you're talking to the client, and the client like, man, I'm tight on this, I'm tight on that, I ain't got a job, I ain't got this. And the only thing you can introduce them to is Metro Care. And it's like now it's like, hey, what are your options? Okay, you came to me with this, and I gave you this. So the only thing I can tell you is, even though it's not up to par with what you really need, you have to try to find something that connects, even in that, to help you get through or cope with what you need to cope until you're able to afford the proper care or mental health care that you can or that you need. And that's always a big dilemma dealing with cost, whether it's an effective therapy session or if is the person really getting anything out of it. And with some of the stuff that's being free, most of it is, and I'm just gonna throw it out there. Some of the stuff is money grabs because they're grant funded, so they don't care. Come one, come all. It's free as long as this check clear from the government, and they just let people sit in the room, say what they say, and don't really help them. And then these people come out looking like, man, I don't even know I'm here. I ain't learning nothing from this, or I ain't getting nothing out of it. And that's the dilemma that I know we have dealing with the job.
So let's have that conversation, right? There are some people, for lack of term, cannot afford, right? However, and I want to be clear because we use the name Metro Care. I am very familiar with Metro Care, and I don't want to go from a tangent, but mental health is one of those things. It's like if a doctor give you medicine and give you your treatment, right? A lot of people think that mental wellness is like a pill and I'm good.
No,
you have to be proactive in doing some things yourself. No, on a very big scale or a very minute scale. I think that's the biggest misconception. I see if someone with my body, if I hurt, I take an ibuprofen, and guess what? The ibuprofen works. Our mental awareness does not work that way, and that's why a lot of people, quote unquote, it doesn't work, right? Because usually, Frankie, I got to go deep into what mom and them did, what grandpa did, stuff I've done locked away that my mind will not. So it's so much nuance to that. And I want to be very clear. And there are some things that they're money grab, but I want to be very clear because we may be helping someone understand how to use the help, right?
How to utilize. Yeah.
Even on a small scale, hell, we got YouTube and things of that sort. Do you have a working knowledge, right? Kind of like when we were talking about emotional intelligence. Okay, you don't have to been to wrote the book about it, but do you know the 4 stages, right? Let me just get the 4 stages and just apply that. But usually I think, and again, no disrespect, unless there's something mentally, where it's out of their capacity, usually people approach mental wellness like a doctor. Big Ken, give me that, let me take it, and I'm good. Well, Big Ken, it didn't work. Well, you got to do some stuff, right? If I rupture my patella tendon, yeah, I get pain medicine and all that, but I got to do some workout, some treatment, some therapy, right? And that's usually where the information becomes effective. And so I want to make sure that accountability is appropriate, right? Yes, we do have a system that fails a lot of us. That's true, and that's a whole nother podcast. So we're not going to downplay that. But I think in this day and age, it's more about the desire. Do people want to help because of that distrust? Mama Jones said, I don't trust my doctor because as soon as I walk in, they say insurance and ID. Wow, I feel like they just want to get paid. Uh, what about me? I think she said, what about you? And so yes, and so that's that stigma. And Big Ken, I'm gonna toss it back over to you. But that's that stigma, right? Like there's some truth on both sides, but we have to get out of those both sides to where, yeah, money grab and we don't trust it, but we don't throw it all away because there's a healthy middle to where it's like there's some still good stuff in there, right?
Yep.
So if you
Yeah.
could, if you want to lend your voice to that, right, right there, because I feel you, Mama Joan. That's traditionally what we believe, right? But here's my
Yeah.
thing. Ultimately, when it's time and I need a doctor, where do I go? you know, Big
Yeah.
Ken.
Well, I got two things, man. When we talk about the level of trauma which you were just mentioning, a lot of people have to I use a lot of analogies and I like to use the sports analogies a lot. So when you talk about trauma, you talk about injuries, right? In life,
Yeah.
we have different levels of injuries. If you sprain your ankle, they're gonna send you home and tell you put some ice on it, elevate it, and a few days you're good, right? So it's different levels to your treatment. So, you might get a little treatment there. Same thing with mental health. Some people have deeper rooted things.
Yeah.
So, a couple years ago, I tore my Achilles. That took me 8, 9 months to recover. So that's a different level of injury from, still the same area, still ankle injury, but Achilles tear and sprain your ankle, two different things. So you can't get treated the same way for those two injuries. So people have to understand that certain treatment is going to require a longer recovery time, a longer session time. And like Frankie mentioned, it was a lot of physical therapy I had to go through. So there's a lot of therapy that you have to go through in order to, help heal some of those things. And yeah,
Yep.
a lot of that is deep rooted trauma. And my main thing I was going to say, the reason why a lot of us don't approach therapy in that manner, especially guys our age. I'm 45. So our age range is still, attached to the old school mindset of, yeah, we don't want to go put our business out in the street. We don't
I'm
want to
truly
go
like
tell
that.
strangers, what I'm saying, our business, and we don't feel comfortable opening
Now
up.
we talk.
Yeah, so it is that, and we're that bridge too. I believe that our generations are that bridge where we can be the advocates to the younger generation that don't feel like, hey, I want to go see a therapist. We can be that advocate for that because they're watching us, they're looking at us, and they're seeing how we act. So the more we give pushback, the more they're gonna, most likely give the same type of pushback because they're like, well, my dad don't do it, then he's my idol. He's my guy. If he's not doing it, I don't need to do it. So we got to
Right.
lead by example. So we got to get out there and to be transparent with you, we have a lot of therapists to come on the fire session, man. And
Yeah, y'all
uh
do. Yeah.
here I am on the show, not doing the work myself, right? Going through things, feeling depressed, feeling down, feeling all these things and that they're talking about. And I'm like, I'm a hypocrite because here I am having these people on my show giving out this great information and I'm not even doing it myself. So I had
And
to
that
seek therapy for myself.
and that's why I love
Yeah.
the word Tony used. And I talk to my son about this all the time. Look, life is not the world is not a pretty place. We know that. That's the given part of the equation. The part of the equation is what we should solve is our part. And that's where accountability comes from. I love what Mama Jones said because it fits what we do here. Let's talk real. I don't like. It don't make it right, but that's a real statement. And a lot of times when you're talking about trauma, I don't like what I see, Big Ken. Because if I feel I done got over that, that's not it. Or if I simply don't even want to talk about, what are you talking about? Now we defensive, right? So when we go back to these people that Frankie was alluding to, and again, we're not painting everybody with a broad brush, right? I feel like I did qualify myself. Want to start seeing fall off right. But
Yeah.
a lot of times the trauma after effect is that I want to appear normalized instead of finding a way so I can be normal. So I can mask it. So when you come into contact with things that help you, such as therapy, things of that sort, and they hit those wounds there, I always say it's like swallowing my vomit. I don't want to come. I don't want nobody to see this. So let me just well, what good are you doing yourself? But I do think we can belabor that in a whole podcast with itself. But I wanted to kind of take that time, man, that even though there are some bad entities out here, faulty information, it's still up to us to get the help we need. Kind of going back to our topic. Why do we only check in when things are falling apart? You can't do for somebody else that you can't do for yourself. And I think that's one of the proponent reasons why we should make sure we are taking care of ourselves first, because you never know when one of your loved ones, somebody in your circle may need you. And quite frankly, like Big Ken alluded to, you just can't. When you look up and realize, hey, I ain't been doing it myself, you can't do it. So with that being said, question for you guys.
Yeah.
What was something that you realized, whether in therapy or even just on your healing journey, just like learning yourself, that completely shifted the way you show up in relationships, right? And we're still on that accountability part. We're going to get to the part when other people do it to us. But what is something that you've learned, whether it's in therapy or you just learn like, man, I got to get better. I have to be a better version of myself, to be a better version to family, friend, frat brother, whatever. Talk about that experience, Big Ken. If you have one of those experience where you had to just look within yourself and it's something you learned about yourself, like, man, I got to do better.
One of the main things was, man, I had to learn to listen to learn instead of listening to respond, because I think we have a ability that we're born with to respond to things a certain way, right? And we see our friends, we see our family members, we see our mom, dad, sisters, brothers, cousins respond to things, so we learn how to respond based on those things. But sometimes when you respond, you have to really listen and then learn from that and then respond, right? And it's a process, man, because we're built a certain way, right? You talking about years and years and years of doing something a certain way. And I really had to learn that because my kids, right? A lot of times we're programmed and our kids do things. And the first thing we do as a parent is, well, I did that. And my mom did this when I did that same thing. So this is what I'm going to do. But we can't do that. We can't do that, man. And on top of that, each kid is different. And these kids are totally different from the way we grew up. So we got to approach things differently, which requires me to listen. And I really had to listen and understand where my kids were coming from. And I'm still going through that process of learning, because I tell my kids all the time, I've never been a father of a 24-year-old before. I've never been the father of a 21-year-old before. So it's constant learning. It's constant, you know what I'm saying, picking up things here and there. But that's what I had to do, man. I had to learn how to listen and then learn from those things instead of listening and then supplying a response right away, because I had a habit of doing that.
Yeah. I love something you said, and I think sometimes it's one of those things we give ourselves credit for, because we are on the one grading the test that we took, if that makes sense. I never forget, I was seeing my therapist, and it's been about 3 years ago, and she said, you are a passive male. Now, I never heard that term, but to your point, I don't want to hear that. No, to me, that was like you were telling me I was identifying with a lifestyle that I don't identify with, right? No problem with them, but it had nothing to do with that. James, you grew up around mainly women, so you've learned to internalize and act on your emotions the way you were taught, right? So it opens you up to things that you were not taught from a male's perspective. Man, sometimes it's hard to learn about yourself, because see, as you alluded to, as we get older, we think I know me, Big King. What you mean? No, I know that. No, you don't. And I love the fact you said is putting yourself in a position where you're always growing. Because in that space, I would have walked out of that session, right? If I didn't have to really own that. And I think that's some of the challenge, Frankie, when it comes to the information, notwithstanding the gravity of how much or how small or how much you get in contact with, but are we willing, right? Big Ken talked about when he what you say you had a Achilles tear.
Yeah,
I ruptured a patella tendon. The doctor still got to do their job, but the only difference in real life, there's nothing to numb the pain. See, they lay me down on that table. When I ruptured my patella tendon in 2019, I woke back up. I asked the doctor, they told me to count back down from 10. I got on 8 and I woke up at 4 something that evening. I said, when you gonna do the surgery? That's some
Already
good
done.
that's some good stuff. But in life, we usually try to avoid the pain, not realize that part of the journey incorporates pain. Ugh. Ugh. So we get into it, Frank. Is it that the help? Because here's the thing, and it's not everything, but the help usually is proven. That's why it's help. Right? That's why it's in that section. Help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want to change the help because the uncomfortable truth pulls us out of our comfort zone. Big shout out to my little brother Jimmy. Appreciate you can join in, brother. I'm
What's
glad
good, Jimmy? Big bro.
to see that you could join us. So as we get down off into the thick of things, as I always say, let's not go surface level. Like Big Ken said, ultimately we just have to renew our mindset. Let me be in a position to always learn. And I love what he said. I've never been a parent to someone at this age. Like, really think about that. Like, that takes a lot of stress out. Just, oh, I'm a parent. What type of parent? Are you a parent of like you were a parent of a 5-year-old? Well, that ain't gonna work to that 20. So do we keep our minds open to feedback? Right? And if we don't keep our minds open to feedback, fellas, just in regular life, how are we gonna find value in such things like therapy, counseling, life coaching? We not. Them know it all. They don't know nothing. No, they telling you your honest truth that you want to hear. And so what we do, we bound ourselves up with yes men. Tell me what I want to hear. Right? Because Big Ken, if you tell me something that I don't like here, oh, you ain't cool no more. Now I gotta find some. Come on, bro. Really?
You hating? What you hating for?
Yeah, you hating? Yeah. Come on, man. Like,
Yep.
let's be transparent. But I think that's the danger again, where we only put ourselves around each other. Where nothing wrong with hanging out and whatnot, but if that's all we see that person as, and life happens, it is easy to they done changed. Well, they've changed because y'all never created that space for each other, right?
True.
You all, I want to take a moment to let you guys know, please follow us on all social media platforms. This is Unfiltered Kings and the Queen podcast. We're doing season 4, you guys. We couldn't have done it without you guys. And so we want to keep it going. We want to be knocking on season 5, have more followers, more opportunity to bring you guys great content. So please follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Facebook. Follow us, subscribe, man. And like I said, in your own leisure, just take a listen. I'm glad that you guys can join us live. But man, when you're not doing anything, turn the TV down a little bit. Look at these semi-handsome faces. You know what I'm saying? Semi-handsome pose. And you might hear something that you like. But we do have our guests on here. Hey, that's gonna make us lose some views. My bad, Frankie. But we do have a guest on here, Big Ken, who is part of the 5 Sessions podcast, and so he's just lending his voice tonight as we talking about why do we wait until it's too late to show up? Why we only check in when things are falling apart? That's something I have a conversation with my family all the time. Sometimes y'all, what if you wait and it's too late? Right? What if it's none you can do? That's why I hate that hospital and funeral. Well, ain't nothing you can do now. And then us as black folks, and look, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian. Well, just pray. No, prayer don't work that way. Right? It's a time and a place for everything. Jim said, glad I could take it on. I'm glad you can be here also too, Jimmy. You guys keep your comments going. We don't want to just talk to each other, the three of us.
Keep it flowing, baby.
Anything in here you wanna chime in, you disagree with, let us know. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it respectful. And we'll get you on. So let's move on to our next point. Has there ever been a moment, and Frank, I'll let you go with this one. Has there ever been a moment where you realize on the flip side where it's like, damn, I'm carrying trauma that's not even mine. Like you holding on, and I think Big Ken alluded to it, and you're doing this and you're doing that, and then when you really sit down, like, no, I'm not being self. That's not mine to hold, right? Like, like you. if I hold it, I'm supposed to hold it for a little while, not just dumping on me.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And sometimes have you ever been in a position where you realize, and if not, that's fine. But have you ever been in a position where you realize that, man, I've taken on more than what I should, put it like that.
Oh yeah, most deaf. Most deaf. Anybody that don't know me, I already know I got a lot of kids, man. I got 7 of them things, man. 5 girls, 2 boys. But it's it's times where people want you to do this, or people think you can move like that and you can't. And I got my my own little world to worry about. And sometimes I have to be comfortable with saying no. And sometimes the best help is for me to say no to certain situations, man. Uh, Again, I can equate this to work. I have to tell some of my people like, hey, hey, you got this going on. So I feel you. Your shoulders you might think your shoulders strong, you might think you can hold up the world, but hey, when you got a lot of insurmountable odds or a lot of stuff going on, you can only take care of what's directly in front of you at this point in time. And somebody else trying to add their problem to you ain't gonna help you out. And I think sometimes people take these problems on just like a mask to get away from their problem. But guess what? Your problem's still there. And you just help them from their problem. Now they stress free. Are they gonna come back and try to help you?
Because I always say, we as a culture, we mistaken loyalty for love. We do things out of loyalty and we call it love, and we obligate ourselves to it as if it's love. Like, no, it's loyalty. Right. And I really don't think, if you could kind of speak to those two, or just your viewpoint on those, how, when a soldier fight for a king, it ain't matter whether it's right or wrong. He's just loyal. He's supposed to do it. Love says, I love myself enough that, hey, king, I ain't fighting today. And here is why, right? I got to take care of myself first. And I think a lot of times, to what Frank is saying, we've been taught in our Black culture that, hey, you're supposed to love your mama, love your dad, love your family. But we aren't taught that sometimes loving myself means I can't show up in that space. Can you kind of talk to that or unravel that for our audience?
Well, I wanted to mention something too before I get to that. When we
Okay.
were talking about the point that, when Frankie was talking and that you were talking about initially, I wanted to give people an example of us carrying a burden that's not ours, right?
Okay.
My dad grew up military guy. My grandfather military guy. They're not emotional guys where, you see them hug a girl, my sisters, my mom,
Yeah.
nieces, but when it's a guy, it's like, how you doing? Shake your hand. Even me, you know what I'm saying? Their grandson, their son. But I had to notice that, you know what? That's not my burden to bear. Whatever happened in their lives, whatever trauma that they're dealing with, that doesn't allow them to openly show affection in that way toward, their son, their niece, their nephew, their male counterparts. It's not me. So I gotta be the one to step outside of it. I gotta be the show, be able to show my sons I love them, be able to hug them, be able to show that affection so that they understand that, what I'm saying, it's not in a relationship type of context that you can show another man that you love them. And unfortunately, for a lot of our young men, that's all they see. You know what I'm saying? They see two men in a relationship show themselves that they love themselves, but not guys who are just friends or guys who are family. You know what I'm saying? So because they haven't seen that, it's odd to them. And then they'll look at you and say, "Oh, you hug your dad, you soft. Oh, you hug
Yeah.
you hug your son." It will be times where I would literally be at Friday night under the lights. My son comes out warming up for the game, and before the game gets going, I hug him.
Right on,
And,
right on.
at first it was kind of odd for both of us to be in front of everybody doing that type of stuff. But at the same time, you know, when he graduated, there was guys that he graduated with. They were like, "Dang, man, I wish I had a dad that did that. I wish I had it." You know what I'm saying? So it gave me that validation. Okay, you're going in the right path, Ken. You're going in the right path because you're doing something that hasn't been done in your family before, but it's the right move. And you know, whatever my dad dealt with, whatever my grandfather dealt with, that's not for me to bear.
Yeah,
They have to deal with that in their own way, and then I have to, you know, blaze a new path for my sons and for, you know, the kids to come from that. So, but
yeah,
yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
it's
go ahead.
it's it's funny. It's funny you say that, man, because I do. I'm like I gotta catch myself sometimes. My sons are still young, like 7 and 8, but they like to hug a lot, man. And honest to God, truth, I find myself like, hey man, like, and then I gotta come back and think about like, you know what, yeah.
Yeah,
Man. But you are so right, man, because how I grew up too, you know, you stop getting a hug. Like when I was that age, the hug stopped. It was
yeah,
more like, side, like I side hug you or stuff like that. I never kept the hugs going with
yeah,
from my pops to my uncles and stuff like that. So it's weird watching my sons at that age still come try to, hey, and I'm like, hey, like, chill out, man. But then I gotta catch, like I said, I gotta catch myself and like, nah, let me just, there ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
yeah.
and
My
this is.
dad.
And, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Big Ken.
No, I was gonna say my dad is 73, bro. And I in this past year, I made a promise to myself and I told my mom, I'm gonna start hugging this guy. So that's what I started doing.
Yeah,
And at first couple times was kind of like, okay, what's this new? But
yeah,
after that, it's like now when I leave his presence, it's a habit. It's to go for the hug, not for the handshake. Go the arm is out for the hug now. So
yeah.
just those things, man, just not being afraid to introduce new things to the people around us. And most importantly, man, is show people how to treat you. Show people
Hmm.
how to treat you. I mean, you can't be afraid to tell people, nah, that ain't what I want. I want this. And it's up to them to say, yeah, you know, I don't feel comfortable with that. But you know,
Yeah.
a lot of times, man, you'll find it often that, like, even with my dad, I think he wanted the hug. I think he didn't know how to approach it with me as a grown man, you know, doing that because he never had to address it with his own dad. So
Yeah.
because I was able to do that, now that wall is down because I made that first step. And a lot of times that first step can be scary when you're going into anything new, but it's got to be done, man, if you want to change things.
And that's something why we always talk about. And man, Big Ken, man, thank you so much. On a side note, sometimes it's hard talking about self. We were talking about how earlier, Big Ken, how so many people just take for granted, right? Because see, when we look on the movie, that's them. So we're entertained. But put yourself in that position where you opening up and you talking about real stuff that people can say whatever about you, right? Good, bad, and different. So I appreciate you. I say all the time, I appreciate you lending some of your personal stories to us to add on credibility to this topic. We always talk about emotion intelligence, you guys, and I think that's why I will always open up every season talking somewhat on that topic. Because here's the thing: what we talking about, Phil, we got to normalize it. Like none we do one time and we're expert and it feels good, but we have to normalize it. And I think that's the thing that we don't appreciate. We see we want the outcome, but it's in the process, right? We have to understand our emotions first, right? Like that right there can be just a process within itself. It will be good to check in, what in the whole 9 yards. But if we haven't managed, I'm like Frankie said, wait a minute, oh, let me catch myself. And I think normalizing it like that instead of being combative. No, I would just be one of the biggest things I hate. That's just how I was raised. That's just who I am. Oh my God, I'm running from you because there's no growth. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. I don't have nothing else to say because you're gonna stay in your. It ain't even about whether it's right or wrong or effective. You've already justified. So accountability out the window. I don't need to be around you. You're gonna hurt somebody, namely yourself first, and I'm gonna be a fool to follow that. And so that's why I always say it's not about the in-depthness. So we have to normalize having these conversations about emotional intelligence, right? Take away some of this stigma, like you said, oh, you soft, you weak, or all these stigmas that we may have. And I'm pretty sure they're in other cultures too, right? And start normalizing some of this actual stuff so we can get a better understanding of ourselves. Then we can be in a better position to help other people. I want to move along and ask you guys a question because we kind of touched on it, but I want to kind of make sure that we check the box off, so to speak. Have you ever realized that your trauma wasn't yours, but it came from your upbringing? Not necessarily, and this was a hard conversation to have with my mother at first, but we've had a better understanding. I'm not judging you, but I also have to tell my truth. Because if I never tell my truth, I never get better trying to not make you mad, right? And I think that's another thing we do in our culture. Well, certain title, oh, you don't say nothing about that. So now we have to force, and maybe they didn't intentionally do it. Maybe they learned wrong. Maybe they did, and they did the best they could. But to break that generational curse, whatever you want to call it, we have to verbalize it without it being an attack. And so, Big Ken, I wanted to see if you have any jewels or wisdom on us on that, because that can be a rough conversation, right? To look at something and be like, man, I was just taught wrong. You know, you think about a racist growing up being racist. Well, the child is taught to be a racist.
Yeah.
You tell mom and them that. So how do you have you ever been an experience or know someone experience, or how do you think that should be navigated? Because I've seen at times where that has ripped a family apart. Just saying that was ineffective for me. It didn't work for me. Even if you did the best you could, it didn't work for me, right?
Yeah, you just got to be okay with knowing that, you know, people might have a difference of opinion. I think that's one of the biggest things that me and my dad got past, because my dad has a totally different mind frame. But again, he's 73 years old. So, you know, I'm 45.
Yeah.
We grew up two different ways. We grew up in two different, you know, lifestyles. We grew up in two different time frames. So there's things that he refers to, things that he talks about. I ain't gonna get too deep into it, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He grew up in a time where he couldn't go where he wanted to go. He had to go in the back door of restaurants. He had to go in the back door of stores. So there's certain things that he approaches certain ways that I don't have those experiences. So when
Right.
we're having conversations, I have to remind him, I'm not gonna think exactly like you, sir. So, so don't get mad, don't get upset with me, because it's okay. But I had to really just be okay with, you know what, we're not gonna be on the same page with that. And it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay that we're not on the
Yeah.
same page. My mom the
Yeah.
same way. My mom has certain ways she likes to do things. And you know what? I'm a grown man, mom. It's okay that we
Right.
don't agree. I still
Right.
love you. I'm still gonna come and get some food. I'm still gonna come and wrap my arms around you. We just don't agree
Right.
on this. And it's
Right.
okay. Right?
Right. Yeah, we don't have to lose, and I'm glad you said, and I'm gonna leave that right there. We don't have to lose the love. It's not personal, right? We gotta normalize this stuff. It's not. We don't have to lose the love, and now you ain't at the family gathering. You ain't at church no more. Like, let's normalize. It's okay to agree to disagree, right? We all gotta find a way to live in our truth when it's all said and done. So I will leave it there. We've been talking about too late. Why do we only check in when it's falling apart? We're gonna transition right quick as we bring it to close. Now we're gonna put the shoe on the other foot, right? We talked about where we can be accountable. Now we're gonna kind of talk about when it happens to us and how do we deal with that, right? Man, Frank and I we went to Houston this weekend to do some podcast business, and we met his cousin. And long story short, his cousin said we were just fellas we was at Cigar Line. He said, man, some of the greatest hurt is when your partner fails you. And I thought that was just a breath of fresh air that we don't get to even say, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my frat, or that's Jimmy. You know, Jimmy, I ain't talking about you. I'm just using for example. Like those titles get so I'm been telling mama. He was talking about me on the podcast, bro. That was an example. Now I gotta talk to mom. Mom, what you trying to eat? You know what I mean? But when he said that, bro, and I really thought about that, Big Ken. Like, think about the real talk. I've heard some women knock a why did it hurt so bad? He just your homeboy. Like, you act like he me. And they really don't understand that dynamic, that it's not belittling our relationship or not, but that's a different hurt. Bro, someone you call your partner, your brother, Frank and I, we talk about it, frat brother, like, Jimmy's my blood brother. So if I give you that frat, bro, and you just like, boy, that cuts in a different way. And so what I want to talk about, how do you view it? Is it that, well, it can be both ways, but let's elaborate on both ways. Those who just don't care, and then those who just don't know how to show up. And I want to take the one because I feel that was going to be the easy one that we can get to through it. Those who just don't care, you know, because you have some chameleons. But I really want to get to the point, those who just, there we go again, they just don't have the emotional intelligence to give you that. How do we deal with that, Ken?
It's all of this is learned behaviors, right? Like we have to learn how to do this. This is not an innate thing that we're born with. So I think that's part of the main issue is people are afraid to learn that. People are afraid to open that door because it's something not usual for them. And some people it's uncomfortable, right? As I mentioned earlier, sometimes you gotta tell people how to treat you. And that's uncomfortable for some people to tell somebody how to treat you. When you have somebody else fixing your plate, you don't have a problem with telling them to put one more piece of chicken on there.
Yeah.
So don't have a problem telling them, hey, you know what? I don't think you handling me the correct way, man. I don't like it when you do this. I don't like it when you say this. You have to tell people that, man. And you know, if they can't deal with that, then maybe that person shouldn't be in your circle. It's some hard truths that come from those type of conversations, and you got to be open to making the changes that might be necessary after those conversations.
Yeah, and having those conversations all together. No.
Yep.
Right. And I love something that you said, man, and you echoed, and I hope our audience has caught it as I'm looking for something. I went to this conference. I went to this mental wellness conference, and something you said is, how do we learn how to agree to disagree? Because I think people don't realize that we assume we have these traits, Big Ken. We assume we have. I'm grown, bro. You look, I done been there before. Have you? Have you really? And was it effective? Because hell, just because I can walk away from the conversation don't mean that it was actually effective, right? It just means that I went through the motions. And so I think that's the thing, man. How can we get back to normalizing learning more than let me show you what I already know? And I always find that interesting, man, how, because we're not talking about casual people, right? We're talking about family, friends. We're talking about strong relationship for years. And when a disagreement or a difference of opinion come up, it's thrown away. It's like, what was that really about then? Like, what was the foundation in that? Like, just the kicking it part, that probably was a dump off that I needed to make, right? Because at some point in time, like you said, our family, our friend, my son, my brother, we're going to bump heads. But we don't have to hate each other and it's like, man, what's happening? Let's talk through it. Frank and I always say, let's get to it to get through it.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, go get a cigar. Let's talk this out, man. But like you said, Big Ken, hey, let me be quiet. Let me see your part in it. Right? Like, we think we do all these things, but then we carry this bad baggage, watch this, to the person who needs us. And we wonder why the help is not effective. And now we risk getting mad at them. Man, I tried to help so-and-so. He acted like, bro, it wasn't effective. Like you said at the top of the hour, Big Ken, sometimes it's nothing that need to be done. Your listening ear was enough. You ain't have to do all that. Your listening ear was enough. And so, yeah, there are times where we have to be astute in our circle, knowing. I talk to Frankie about this all the time. Whether it's masonry, whether it's my family, whether it's alpha, I know now at my age who needs to show up in what circles, Big Ken. Kicking and hanging out, and we did. I know who needs to show up. And it's not a knock to them. If I need that listen, Derek talked about it on Monday night on our men's check-in.
Yeah.
If I need someone where I need that real genuine advice, I'm not gonna call the one that I'm hanging out and partying with. Because he's not wrong. I'm doing him a disservice by having a false expectation of him, right? He don't show me that's his lane, right? Now, if it's one I need to literally physically show up to me, then I have my circle with that. And I think that's a part of being mentally, emotionally intelligent with your own emotions, to not throw an assignment on somebody, but knowing your circle and being okay that if they're limited and they can't do it. That's why I was talking to my son about what he's going through. Yeah, that person failed you, but it's not for you to hate on what I feel whether or not and why they did what they did. We just gonna move over here. Minor setback for a major comeback. Frank, you got something?
Hey, my favorite quote is DMX, man. You got to trust a person to be who they are. That's my favorite DMX quote. I was having a conversation with a coworker earlier this week about the same thing, man. It's when you think you rocking with a friend or whoever, family member, this, that, and the other, and something goes just not quite how you like it or how you perceive things, or it's something that you just disapprove of. Are you able to sit and say, "Hey, man, I don't like how you handled that situation," or are you sitting back thinking like, "Should I tell them about this, or should I keep it to myself?" And if you're sitting back thinking those thoughts, then guess what? Were y'all close to begin with? Did you really know them? Why would you consider, after all these years and after seeing that, them to be a friend or a close family member? You know what I'm saying? For you not to be able to, hey man, that ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things, man. Like you said, Jay, you gotta know who you're dealing with, you know,
Right.
and you'll be able to move better, you know, or as I like to say sometimes, man, when you figure out some things, you can set your chessboard up a little bit better than it was the first time. You know?
Yeah. There's something that I'm gonna put in the group, man, and I promise it sounds childish, and I hope that this blesses somebody. This has been a great conversation, you guys. Too late, and that's the reason why I put that at first. Too late. Like that's a whole conversation. Sometimes it can be too late, Big Ken. Sometimes you can mean well. You had the right idea. You cool with me, but Big Ken sometimes can be too late, right? And I want to stress that, to put the onus on what can we do to get out of that reactive state that Frankie was talking about. Well, I'm here now where I'm at, and this is not saying it's everybody's case, where I can't get or where I'm not. What are we doing to be proactive? Because like what I've heard consistent tonight, I need this, right? Isn't that interesting? As we talk about failing other people, a lot of the conversation was what I should have done. Because like Big Ken said, at the end of the day, that's what we can. That's the only thing that we lean our hats on. We pretty much talked about a lot of what Donna had for us tonight. And Donna, again, thank you. I wish she was here. She gave a beautiful layout talking about unlearning bad habits. How do we actively work through? And I think that's another thing, like Frankie just said. Frankie and you and Big Ken just said, like, it may take more than that one sit down. It may take tabling it, but don't lose what we have, right? Allow me to come back and get some more nugget, get some more help or whatever. but don't try to force that one sit down, Ken. And Ken, if you ain't straight right now, I ain't try my no, man. Let's normalize, man. Like I said, meeting in the middle is what I'm talking about. Look, man, this has been a great one. I feel like this one can go on and on and on. Frankly, what we always say, might have to part 2 this, right?
It is.
But look, this is the Unfiltered King podcast. Like I said, you can join us on all social media platforms. You guys, please, we're trying to do big things for you guys in season 4. We are trusting God, but God puts people in our lives to kind of like Big Ken said, pull together and help us out. You know, hit that button. Go listen to us on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to. We're coming to Apple Podcasts. That's the last one that we're not on there. But man, just give us a listen to. If it's something you like, the only thing we have, pass it on to somebody else. It's up to them whether they listen to it or not. We want to give a special thanks, man, to our guest, Big Ken. Big Ken, I'm gonna give you another opportunity, man. Tell them briefly about what you do, where they can find your work, where they can support you at also.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity as always, fellas. Good talk, man, and the opportunity to come and kind of share our truths, man, and part of our journey in hopes that, you know, other men, especially Black men, will see things like this and feel obligated to share their truths as well with their circle, the people around them, and let those walls down, man, to be able to have these real conversations. But y'all can catch me at the Fire Session, FIYAH session, on all social media platforms, man. Just hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us, man. We have a lot of great content. We're actually premiering our episode in a couple weeks, episode 200. We've been in the game for a minute. We've been pushing our content, man, and clips, man.
I don't have a little button to make no noise, but let me make 200, bro. Like, let's make some noise for that.
Yes, you know, it's a lot of episodes, man. It's a lot of work. It's a labor of love, man. But we like bringing you the content that we bring and the way that we bring it. And we like to pride ourselves, as always. We say we put the medicine in the candy. We're going to entertain you and make you laugh, but we're going to help you learn some new things, and we're going to entertain you and educate you as well. So check us out, support us, and also, you know what? You got to keep supporting these guys, man. These are amazing guys, man, with an amazing platform. Keep tuning in, keep sowing them seeds, man, into this platform as well. Unfiltered Kings and a Queen podcast. Y'all know y'all need to like and subscribe and support these guys, so do that as well. Thank you.
Big Ken, I'm glad you threw that in there, because I swear for God, if that wasn't in there, you would have heard from Diana. You know what I'm saying? You would have heard from hey, and it would have been polite and short and sweet. Am I lying, Frankie? Short, nice, and sweet. And you would have felt it. Trust me. You know, hey, her butter knife got a little something on the end of it. But look, you guys, man, I'm so excited that you guys could be here for our season 4 premiere kickoff, man. We're thinking about moving some days, man. We want to make sure that we're here for you guys, right? I know we meet on Thursdays. I know we got fans of football and things of that sort. There is no right answer, but we just want to make sure that we put you in a space so where you can enjoy the content. If we saying, hey, man, support us, man, we want to be able to allow you guys to kind of enjoy the content, but then also have a life too, right? And so that's something that we're thinking of. We haven't made a final decision, but just kind of throwing it out there. Do not be alarmed. We're going to have the same great information, whether it's yesterday, today, or tomorrow. But thank you guys so much for supporting us on this. If you were not able to comment, or you're watching this later on Spotify, somewhere like that, still drop your comments, man. We're going to follow up and get back on you, man. Even if it's to the point that we may have to bring you on. We may hear something that's so good, like, man, you come on, get in this hot seat right quick. You know what I mean? Big Ken did a great job on it, but I ain't saying everybody gonna be like him now. You know what I mean? But man, look, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you for being a part of us on your Thursday night. Until next time, Unfiltered Kings and the Queen podcast. This is where men and women talk to each other, not at each other. You guys take care.
Like and share, man. Love y'all.